and I love money more than almost anything. I spend my time between two of the richest zip codes in America, have more cash in the bank than probably what 85% of all Americans generate in a lifetime. And I think anyone who believes being rich is a crime should go live with these people. I'm a capitalist. It's in my blood. I believe every American has the right to be a multimillionaire. If some schmuck wants to sit on their lazy bum all day, that's their own fault. They deserve to be poor. As you can tell, I'm a bold person. I make no apologies to anyone for anything. In fact, if what I'm about to say offends you, too bad. I speak the truth. I have no time for politically correct rubbish. The only thing I make time for is making money. And today, for the first time ever, I'm going to show you how to potentially make up to $1.6 million from one of the most disruptive events in the history of Wall Street, the long-awaited and overdue collapse of the retail sector. Unless you're one of those hermit types who spends all day dusting your antique G.I. Joe collection and eating Spam sandwiches, you're well aware that America's retail industry is entering extinction. Already, dozens of the largest department stores and luxury retailers have filed for bankruptcy, including American Apparel, Sports Authority, the Limited Stores, Aeropostale, and Quicksilver. Others are barely clinging on to life like J. Crew, David's Bridal, Nine West, and Payless Shoes. Left in their wake is nothing but carnage. See this footage? This may look like a war zone in Syria or a landfill in Somalia, but it's not. This pile of rubble is in the good old USA. It's the site of what used to be one of the highest-end fashion malls in the country. It once had 155 stores, including a Macy's, Boscov's, Saks Fifth Avenue, and Benetton. By last year, the place looked like an abandoned morgue filled with broken glass, dead trees, and trash. And now, it's a pile of dust. Why am I showing you this? Because this is what the future of America's retail sector looks like. A wasteland of rocks, dirt, and concrete. Don't believe me? Take a look for yourself. This used to be Randall Park Mall in Cleveland, Ohio. When it opened, it was the world's largest shopping center, with 200 stores, 3 14-story apartment buildings, 2 20-story office complexes, and a performing arts center. Now feast your eyes on the concrete graveyard that remains. And this used to be White Flint Mall, located in the super-rich suburb of Bethesda, Maryland. It was anchored by Lord & Taylor and Bloomingdale's. It now looks like a street in downtown Cobble. And here's what's left of the Granite Run Mall in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. It's like a scene out of The Walking Dead, only there are no zombies here, just scrap metal and dangling electrical wires. Understand, these aren't renovation projects. They're scheduled demolitions. Entire blocks of U.S. businesses bulldozed into oblivion. Now, you may look at these images and see nothing but destruction, but I see nothing but big, bold dollar signs. Every mall that's blown to bits is another chance for me to show you how to get a fat paycheck wired right into your bank account. Now, if this isn't your cup of tea, that's your loss. The way I see it, you're cheating yourself out of the hundreds of thousands of dollars or more you could easily pocket if these retail stocks succumb to their own pathetic death. In 2017, Credit Suisse projects 8,600 department stores in this country could shutter up. It'll be the worst year in recorded history, and Wall Street smells blood in the water. Just look at how far these stocks have fallen in just the past 3 months. American Eagle, DSW, Nordstrom, Abercrombie & Fitch, Urban Outfitters, Kohl's, Finish Line, Steinmart, and Christopher & Banks. These companies have dropped faster than a stampede of rogue elephants off the Empire State Building. And every single day, more of them are lining up outside the pearly gates. There are too many to count. Do I feel bad about this? Hell no. 90% of these retailers deserve to fail miserably. Why? Piss poor management, greedy CEOs, just plain dumb marketing decisions. But even worse, most of them are ripping off tens of millions of Americans every single day. It makes me nauseous just thinking about it. Jewelry stores charge a 300% markup for their goods. Shoe stores, a 500% markup. Clothing stores, a 350% markup. Furniture retailers, 400% markup. And perhaps the most ridiculous of them all is the eyeglass retailers, who charge an offensive 1,000% markup. And you wonder why everyone is going online? According to Pew Research, in the year 2000, 22% of Americans did their shopping online. Today, that's nearly 80%. This massive shift has turned traditional retailers into distant memories. Remember Sam Goody, Circuit City, Tower Records? Amazon inhaled not only their inventory, but their clientele in one huge Pac-Man chomp. These now ghosts never saw it coming either. But again, do you really have to wonder why this is happening? Ask yourself, would you rather get in your car, schlep to some crowded parking lot, wander aimlessly through packed aisles, deal with long lines and rude people, only to potentially wind up leaving empty-handed? Or touch a button on your phone from the comfort of your own home and get the exact item you want delivered in 48 hours? There's nothing you can do to save these retail stocks. They've each been given the exact same diagnosis: terminal. However, I can show you how to cash in from their unstoppable downfall from now on until the end of time, which for the retail sector is probably about a year from now. I'll say this over and over again until your ears bleed. The death of retail is your opportunity to make an absolute killing, more money than you've ever seen. And I'm probably the only person on earth who can help you extract cash from these companies as they predictably enter purgatory where they belong. You see, over the past 3 years, I've developed a money-making ritual, one that I practice every day. It allows me to see which retail stocks have about a 100% chance of dropping in price and when they will hit the self-destruct button. It's become a way of life for me because it works. Remember AC Moore or Jones Apparel? What about Alco, Coldwater Creek, and Borders Books? Every one of these once thriving retailers is now a distant memory or barely clinging on to life. Their shareholders probably want to tar and feather the boneheads who lit their money on fire. But I could have shown you how to extract cash from these things like a rigged ATM. Some might say this method is controversial, others cold-blooded. I don't care what they call it, especially since it could have made you 1,900% from AC Moore's collapse, 2,100% from Jones Apparel, 3,820% from Alco, 3,900% from Coldwater Creek, and 8,580% from Borders. To put it another way, you could have transformed $2,500 into $50,000 from AC Moore, $55,000 from Jones Apparel, $98,000 from Alco, $100,000 from Coldwater Creek, and $217,000 from Borders. That's $500,000 in profit, thanks to 5 companies that have probably produced more tears than this nauseating chick flick. A lot of people think what I do is sacrilegious, because I'm effectively helping to bury these stocks in the ground where they belong. But the way I look at it, I'm doing the world a huge favor. Not only am I cleansing the market of its weakest entities, I'm also saving shareholders from losing their dignity by investing in these garbage stocks in the first place. But I want to make something crystal clear. I am not here today to talk about shorting stocks. Shorting is generally expensive, risky, and sometimes stupid. Sure, you could short the ugliest retailers in America until the cows come home, but you'll never make more than 100%. And that, my friends, is called a buzzkill, especially when you're targeting companies that could make you up to 5,000% gains or more over and over again. I do something very different. I identify a very specific type of trade that allows you to repeatedly extract tens of thousands of dollars from these decrepit stocks as they spiral down into a bog of eternal stench. For example, before Dex Media filed for bankruptcy, you could have used this trade to make about 8,140%. That would have transformed a few $2,000 trades into $206,000. When Fibercell Sciences stock crashed from $60 to $1, shareholders lost 98%. That's unfortunate. But Wall Street is a game of winners and losers. And if you knew how to execute the trade I'm going to show you ahead, you could have been a big winner from the demise of Fibercell Science Inc. It would have handed you 10,800%. In other words, your $2,500 stake could have paid you $282,000. And when Oxys International saw its stock plummet from $192 to 24 cents a share, you could have used these trades to turn that drop into a 21,000% score. To pocket $549,000, all you would have needed was to invest a few $2,500 stakes. That's how you make real money on Wall Street. The only thing that needs to happen from this trade is that the stock must fall by the amount you expect it to. If it does, you win. If it doesn't, you lose. But I can tell you how to limit that loss to only a few $100s. Right now, I have a list of 40 retail stocks. I know exactly when all of these companies will very likely be terminated, and with as close to 100% certainty as possible. And I've already pinpointed specific trades that could make you up to $1.6 million as each and every one of them falls into a black pit. I'm so confident in this because for the last 35 years, I've been one of the guys who pulls the levers of power at some of the world's top financial institutions. I founded international hedge funds that counted A-list celebrities and Wall Street elites as my clients. I was who British banking giant Lloyds entrusted to trade billions and billions of dollars of their own money in exotic currencies and derivatives. And when Roosevelt & Cross, a boutique investing firm founded by President Teddy Roosevelt's son, wanted to launch an equities division, they enlisted me. I've even aided the White House, Congress, and U.S. Treasury secretaries on policy options. Long story short, I became a very wealthy man because I know where the bodies are buried on Wall Street. I know what skeletons these companies have in their closets. There's nothing they can hide from me. I know how to dig up the gritty, dirty, ugly facts that would drive CEOs of some of the largest companies into an immediate state of panic, including the true amount of the revenue a company is bringing in, the true amount of cash they have on hand, the true amount of credit they can access, the true amount of their total debt, and when their bills truly come due. I'm not going to tell you that these things are easy to find. My colleagues and I aren't stupid. We didn't become a part of the 1% club, pardon that expression, on dumb luck. Over the years, I've developed a money-making ritual that tells me which lambs are next up for the sacrificial slaughter and when their hourglass is expected to run out. It boils down to 3 steps. Step 1, I want to find out if the company can pay its bills. It's that simple. And the equation is even simpler. I start with their cash position, which is always on line 1 of the balance sheet. Then I look at their available credit, which is a number that's usually buried in the liquidity and capital resource section of a company's 10K report. I add these 2 numbers and voila, I know how much money they have. Step 2, I look to see if the company is spending more cash than they have in their coffers. I start with their operating cash flow, which is always at the bottom of the cash flow statement. And from there, I subtract the CapEx, which is the money the company uses to grow its business. This can include anything from repairing a roof to purchasing a piece of equipment or building a new factory. The last step is subtracting interest payments and dividends. If this calculation is negative, it means one thing. The company is burning through cash just to stay alive. That's an instant red flag. At this point, it's a simple question. How long will it take before the company burns through every dollar it has? To get this answer, I look at their debt, which is the sum of their current and long-term liabilities, and then generate a schedule which shows me when all the company's outstanding notes and loans will mature, by what quarter. The end result? A single data point that is absolutely critical to determining when a company will go bust. So good, in fact, that based on 12 years of historical data, it has never been wrong. Ever. Remember American Apparel, the clothing retailer who made those vomitous commercials with girls changing in the back of a car, women pulling each other's socks off, and kids doing handstands in front of a green screen? Yeah, that company. Well, back in December of 2014, my 3 termination calculations would have told me this retailer was on its way to the morgue. They had $8 million in cash, $13 million in short-term credit, were losing $1.3 million a quarter, spending $2.4 million in CapEx, and had $9.9 million in interest payments. This is how I would have known the company had less than 2 quarters left to live out the rest of its miserable existence. And what do you know? On October 5th, 2015, they finally choked on all their medicine. But while shareholders were looking for a noose to hang themselves with, I could have shown you how to make 1,820% as this company flatlined. A $2,500 stake would have made you $48,000. You could have made out even better from Pacific Sunwear, a chain that was begging for bankruptcy. For about 36 long years, this retailer sold clothes to kids who looked like they were parentless beach bums and flag-burning protesters. Do you even have to wonder why I was dancing in the streets when they filed Chapter 11 on April 7th, 2016? It was like watching fireworks on the 4th of July for me. Why? Because they deserved to croak. But I was probably the only guy who could have foreseen their demise far in advance, 6 months prior to be exact. My termination calculations would have told me everything I needed to know. The company had $11.35 million in cash, $22 million in short-term credit. They were losing $4.4 million a quarter, spending $4.1 million in capex, and had $4.3 million in interest payments. This company had 2.6 quarters left until it burned itself alive. However, knowing this in advance would have given me the chance to show you how to make 2,260% as Pacific Sunwear stock entered the pits of hell. And you could have turned $2,500 into $59,000 as this retailer went up in flames. You see, it doesn't matter if a company is selling billions of dollars worth of goods. If it's losing customers, market share, and isn't making a profit for itself, either because it's spending too much, borrowing too much, or expanding too much, it's only a matter of time before it expires like stale milk. And my termination calculations tell me exactly when that's set to happen. Oh, and did I mention, based off 12 years of historical analysis, these calculations have never been wrong. You've probably heard of Gordman's. They're a major department store with 106 stores in 22 states. But looking to October 2016, it was obvious this retail giant was entering no man's land. They had $8 million in cash, $33 million in short-term credit, were losing over $1 million a quarter, spending $6.4 million in capex, and had $880,000 in interest payments. The data suggested Gordman's had fewer than 5 quarters to go before implosion. I was being too generous. They couldn't even last that long. They announced their departure from this earth on March 13th of 2017. Good riddance. I imagine Gordman's shareholders are dousing themselves in gasoline right about now. But as the stock plummeted from $4 to 12 cents a share, I would have been able to show you how to make 1,700%, transforming a couple of $2,500 trades into over $45,000. These are just a few examples. I have a list of 40 retail stocks that are expected to implode in the near future. And I'm probably the only person who knows the termination date for every single one of them. Some are set to be terminated in a matter of months, others 2 or 3 years from now. Now, that may seem like a long ways away, but the beauty is we want these retailers to linger forever like the smell of rotting fish. The longer it takes for them to disappear, the more time we have to extract profits from them. Remember, I'm not talking about shorting these companies. I'm talking about executing a very specific type of trade known as a carbon trade that allows you to profit from these companies over and over again as long as they're dropping in price. And nothing is dropping further and faster than America's retail stocks. Just look at what's happening to Simon Property Group, the largest mall owner in America. Its shares have fallen by 24% in the past 10 months. Or Kimco Realty Corp, which owns 85 million square feet of commercial shopping centers across America. They may as well hit the self-destruct button now and spare themselves the embarrassment. Overall, the number of defunct retailers in the U.S. is now longer than O.J. Simpson's rap sheet. Alco, Cachet, Delia's, Furniture Brands, Hasbro, Sports Chalet, Zale, Blue Fly, Hot Topic, Talbot's. It's like a pile of garbage that keeps on getting taller and taller. Problem is, only maybe 1 in a million people actually knows how to profit from their looming collapses. But by using carbon trades, I can show you how to repeatedly extract tens of thousands of dollars from these companies as they crawl into their own coffins. To me, this is all a no-brainer, and to ignore this opportunity is foolish. Best Buy, this dying electronics chain sales are down 12% since 2013. Staples down 16%. And Office Depot is down over 30% since 2014. Even Walmart and Target, the 2 biggest retailers in the country, are both taking huge hits. Target's net sales are down 21% this year. Walmart's are down 15% in the last 2 years. And did I mention Warren Buffett just sold 90% of his shares in the company? That's $900 million out the door. These once thriving retailers are being smashed by a rolling steel wheel. All of this may be upsetting to you, but I look at this and cry happy tears because these companies had it coming with a vengeance, and then some. They don't deserve your pity. They deserve to drown in their own filth. Case in point, Payless Shoes. Heard of them? On April 5th, 2017, Payless filed for bankruptcy, but I really couldn't care less. Judging from their ambush of one-star reviews online, the company is also careless with the quality of its own product line. These companies think they can continue to sell crap to people who, believe it or not, want less crap in their homes. But they're living in the past. Not only are these stores aging worse than Keith Richards, many refuse to keep up with the times, have shady business practices, unscrupulous CEOs, and now are even imposing their own political views on their customers. Macy's, Neiman Marcus, and Nordstrom just pulled one of the dumbest moves ever. They got political. How about you just shut up and sell your clothes? Oh, wait, you can't even do that, Nordstrom. Your net sales have crashed from $600 million to $354 million this past year. And Macy's? Are you aware that your sales have gone from $1 billion to $619 million? Newsflash, no one looks to you for political advice. So when I say these companies deserve what they have coming, I mean it. See this stock? Its projected termination date is August 2017. This is really no shock to me because it's nothing but a run-of-the-mill mass producer of overpriced polyester jackets for spoiled millennials. And that crap is about to go on a massive sale. The company is now slated to close more than 100 stores nationwide. The kiss of death? All of their stores are located in damn malls. Opening up a store in a mall is like pitching a hot dog stand in a slaughterhouse. If this isn't bad enough, the company hasn't made a penny in profits in the last 4 years. That is not an exaggeration. From the looks of their online reviews, they make a penny for a split second, but then they instantly refund it, leaving them with zero balance. But that zero is just another notch in my victory belt. And I can show you 3 carbon trades where you could turn $2,500 into $57,000 as this dying retailer's cheap shirts are torn to shreds over the next few months. That's a 2,180% return on your money. And here's another laughable company that's set to be terminated in March of 2018. It's laughable because it's a retailer that basically sells cotton at a 1,600% markup. It's also laughable because I'll be laughing all the way to the bank as this stupid retailer shoots itself in the foot. Oh wait, it already did. Because judging by their investor presentations, I think their CEO's brain is also full of fluffy cotton. Bragging about how their products have a 96% appeal rate, 86% brand advocacy rate, and a 47% gross margin. In the end, these numbers don't mean jack, but these do. Over the last 12 months, the company's net income is down an embarrassing 95%. They made an abysmal $1.3 million last year. With 400 stores, that's $3,250 in sales per store. You can probably make more money selling fried maggots on the street corner in Thailand. That's probably why their stock chart looks like this. But while shareholders are crying into their overpriced teddy bears, I know 2 carbon trades that can make you over 2,660% from now until the stock is terminated. So if you're itching to turn $2,500 into $69,000, I'll show you how ahead. And I'm projecting another retailer will be sentenced to termination in May 2018. Why? Well, it's wasting literally billions of dollars a year to stay open. And for what? To display their overabundance of broken light fixtures, empty shelves, leaky ceilings, and cracked floors? Maybe that's why the CEO is hiding away in an island protected by a private police force. If I were one of the 178,000 employees about to lose my job, I'd want to kill him too. Investors who haven't dumped their shares yet should probably think about checking themselves into a mental hospital pretty soon. But for you, there's never been a better time to make money from this hunk of junk. As you can see, as clear as day, this stock is only going down from here on out. Financial institutions are looking at this chart right now and wetting their pants in fear. For me, it looks like Christmas every single day. And I'm going to show you how to use 3 carbon trades to potentially make over 2,300% from now until the company's termination date. That means you'll be set to pocket $60,000 in profit. In fact, you could make much more. Is it possible, by some miracle, any one of these boss retailers could be revived in some way? Sure, it's possible. No one can predict the market with 100% accuracy. But even if, by the slightest chance, these stocks end up working against us, they're just prolonging the inevitable. For example, not even the strongest steroid injection can keep America's largest health supplement retailer from withering away. By my calculations, the company's set to flatline in December 2018. We're looking at fewer than 5 quarters until this company's put out to pasture for good. It has an absurd 4,700 locations in the US and Canada. And did I mention most of them are in unmentionable malls? If their cash flow statement isn't an indication they're in major trouble, you may need to pick up some beta-carotene pills to get your eyes checked. It's scary, but here's what's even scarier. Over the past year, their net income has gone from a positive $219 million to a negative $286 million. That's a 230% drop. And yet, management issued a press release stating that their customers are responding well to the company's new business model. They must be kidding themselves, because if their customers are responding so well, why does the stock look like it's on a staircase to the netherworld? According to my termination calculations, this retailer has another 20 months to live, giving you the chance to carbon trade this thing down into eternal damnation. Your reward could be a 3,840% windfall. So you'd be able to turn a few $2,500 trades into $103,000. This doesn't even crack the top 10 biggest opportunities in front of us now. Now look, I know that for a lot of people, the death of retail in America is a hard pill to swallow. Let's be honest, many of us grew up looking forward to weekend trips to the mall. It was a destination, but now it's set for detonation. Look at this chart from Goldman Sachs. See all that red? It signifies the insane deterioration in foot traffic for department stores and specialty retailers since 2011. Every year, fewer people are going into these stores, and more of America's malls are being decimated every single day. The nearly 1 million square foot Madison Square Mall in Huntsville, Alabama, is being pulverized as I speak. So is the Raleigh Springs Mall in North Carolina. Up next is the Northland Center and Summit Place malls in southeast Michigan. According to a local newspaper, these malls are closing because they have fallen victim to shifting demographics and shopping habits. That's nothing but politically correct gibberish. I'll tell it to you straight. 90% of America's malls have become gang-infested, drug-ridden cesspools of violence where the losers of America go to act like a bunch of wild hyenas. They've become indoor playgrounds for juvenile delinquents and teen mobs who think looting is shopping. You'd be safer spending a few nights in Folsom Prison than just walking into one of them. Would you feel safe coming into a place like this? I sure wouldn't, unless I was armed with an AK-47 and a couple of samurai swords. Or how about here, where it looks like 1,000 teens congregated to engage in a full-out battle royale? You probably think these malls are in the worst ghettos of America. Well, think again. They're in Manchester, Connecticut and Aurora, Illinois, 2 upper-middle-class areas. So you can only imagine what malls in America's so-called bad neighborhoods look like. I'll tell you, third world war zones. And even if they were safe, why would you go into them? Half of today's malls are filled with stores that sell absolute garbage, shipped in from the scariest sweatshops around the world. Oh, there's ghost towns that are now worth less than a steak dinner. Don't believe me? The Galleria at Pittsburgh Mills was once valued at close to $200 million. It was just bought by an attorney for, get this, $100. I'm only telling you these facts because with 400 of the 1,100 malls across the country set to close and the rest soon to follow, America's beloved retailers are in a world of pain right now. The writing is on the wall. On March 13, 2017, Bloomberg published an article and the headline read, "Wall Street has found its next big short in the U.S. credit market." The entire article was dedicated to how major investing institutions like Morgan Stanley and Deutsche Bank are now positioning themselves to profit from the ultimate death of malls and shopping centers across the country. The last time these guys zeroed in on a credit crisis, they got so rich, they made a movie about it. And now these same groups are targeting the debt of dying shopping malls in the mortgage-backed securities market. The sharks now smell blood. They're circling their victims, preparing for the feast that's about to come. And when the time does come, they will devour these companies in one massive chomp. But I won't lose a single night's sleep over their demise, and neither will you. In fact, I anticipate you'll be sleeping like a baby every night in some exotic hotel around the world. Because if you know how to execute simple carbon trades on these pathetic stocks like I do, you could find yourself $1.6 million richer. For example, in June of 2017, I'm projecting that the largest outdoor specialty store in the Western United States will run out of cash. With a measly $2 million in its bank account and a staggering $176 million worth of debt, you'd think this company would have learned its lesson the first time it went bankrupt back in 2009. Nope, they're still making horrendously terrible business decisions. Despite having no money, they just borrowed $16.6 million to open 10 new stores this year. And get this, these stores are being built in small towns, most of which have poverty levels ranging from 20% to 35%. If that isn't bad enough, the company just reported they now have an enormous $246 million worth of unsold merchandise sitting on their already overcrowded shelves. Shocking? Not. Maybe this is why the stock looks like a fishing boat sinking into the bottom of a lake. I feel bad for anyone who bought shares in this company. I'm guessing they're standing on top of a bridge right now wondering where it all went wrong. But I found a way for you to execute 2 carbon trades that can make you over 2,300% as long as this stock continues to rot. That's the equivalent of turning a couple of $2,500 trades into $60,000. And thanks to my proprietary data, I know with about 100% certainty that this outcome is set in stone. But this retailer will have plenty of company. In December of 2017, all signs point to another retailer biting the poisoned apple. They sell home furnishings and furniture, all of it imported from overseas. They have stores all across the US and Canada, and they've just announced that they're closing 100 of them. One needs to look no further than the company's income statement to see that this feeble retail giant has no legs to stand on. I don't think I've ever seen anything so frightening. They've watched their income tank by 76% in the last 4 years. Today, they make a pathetic $39 million a year. For a company that has $405 million worth of unsold inventory, I don't think $39 million is even enough cash to pay the electric bill. With an estimated termination date set for December 2017, I found 2 carbon trades that could make you a total of 2,060%. A $2,500 stake could multiply repeatedly into $54,000 as this stock enters into no man's land. And let me remind you, this is happening during the biggest bull run in modern history. So you can only imagine what's going to happen to retail stocks once this bull market comes to a screeching halt. 99% of them will probably disintegrate faster than an ice cube dropped into a hot vat of acid. Already, Moody's says the amount of junk debt now piling up on top of retail companies has grown an astronomical 141%. And here's something else you can let sink in. According to Forbes, there's close to 50 square feet of retail space in America for every single person. In Europe, it's 2.5 square feet per person. In other words, the US has 20 times more retail space per person than Europe. And most of that space is either filled with the world's finest crap or has become dilapidated, vacant storefronts. Last year, our nation's once thriving department stores averaged a paltry $165 in sales per square foot. That's a 24% decline since 2006. As Business Insider warns, a giant wave of store closures is about to hit the US. And that's exactly what I've been preparing for. For years now, I've been warning America that the retail sector is in absolute shambles. Back in November 2015, I openly claimed that giant retailers like Target were drastically overpriced. I was probably the only person on earth bold enough to say that out loud and on live television to boot. I don't like to gloat, but I was right. Target stock has recently hit a 2-year low of $54 a share. But the bearer of bad news, the boogeyman of Wall Street, that's yours truly, wasn't finished. Because just 1 month later, I openly declared that one of the biggest bubbles nobody's paying attention to is the luxury goods market. And I was right, again. High-end brands across the board, including Fossil, Vera Bradley, and Under Armour, have all fallen off a cliff directly into the deepest craters on Earth. So have XL Brands, Sequential Brands, and KBS Fashion Group. These guys are the ones who own well-known product lines like Judith Ripka, Halston, Martha Stewart, Ellen Tracy, Jessica Simpson, Emerald Lagasse, Isaac Mizrahi, and others. On May 11th, 2016, I went on live TV once again to discuss the abominable retail sector ice age, warning investors to get out of stocks like Macy's, JCPenney, and Kohl's, who, by the way, has been crashing down for months now. This company may as well jump into a river of toxic sludge. Sales are down, income is down, store traffic is down, and, most importantly, Kohl's stock is down. Anyone who buys a share in this company is either a masochist and enjoys getting a thorough beating, or is a pyromaniac who loves burning through their cash. I'm none of those things. I'm a capitalist who loves showing people how to get rich. And over the next few months, I plan on helping a few individuals add $1.6 million to their net worth, as virtually every retail stock in America suffers the same irreversible fate. But I'll tell you right now, I only want to share my research with like-minded people. People who believe in free speech, who aren't afraid of being branded by America's rabid PC idiots, who have the last thing you want is to look back on this historic event with regrets because you sat on the sidelines while others cashed in. So if you're smart and you accept my invitation, I'll immediately give you a list of 40 retail stocks that are expected to implode in the near future. I'll tell you exactly when each one's termination date is set to arrive. And then from week to week, I'm going to send you precise recommendations for the carbon trades you'll need to execute so you can pick off one payday after another from these pathetic stocks. You're going to have the chance to get filthy rich as each is put out of its misery. At the end of the day, I want to help you make it. Every week, I'll send you an express. It's an inclusive group made up of people who have the guts to defy every norm that's been set by the ruling establishment. By that I mean we love making money from these failing businesses, and we make no apologies for it. I'm probably the only person on earth who knows how to help you extract cash from these companies as they shrivel up like a rotten banana. Like I said before, based off 12 years of historical analysis, my methodology has never been wrong. Looking back to March 2015, for example, as its shares were incinerated, just a few $2,500 carbon trades would have rewarded you with an $81,000 windfall. And this is just one example. Based on my analysis, I would have been able to predict the demise of every retail stock that has gone bankrupt since 2010. In most cases, within 4 to 12 weeks of its termination. Just look at what's happened to these has-beens like Cachet, Blythe, Furniture Brands International, Blue Fly, Talbots, Jennifer Convertibles. Again, during my analysis, all of these retail companies were burning through cash like gambling addict, and all of them were eventually torched like marshmallows. What do these companies look like now? Well, like this. For everyday investors, these stocks are often avoided because investors don't understand their real worth. For me, they are the gems of Wall Street, because the more companies that I know are only going down, the more opportunities I have to help my Zenith members potentially make tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars from them. And not just once, but over and over and over again. Remember, unless some overstuffed fat cat billionaire decides to sell his precious vintage Rolls Royce with gold-plated hubcaps to save his dying business, or by some miracle they get a gigantic bailout from the government, which virtually never happens and I don't see happening anytime in the near future. Once a company reaches its breaking point, is no longer making money, if it ever did, and has exhausted all ways to stay afloat, its price is likely to only go in one direction, and that's down. But by using carbon trades, I can show you how to repeatedly profit from these mutant stocks well before they bite the bullet. And if you join me, you won't have to wait a moment to learn how to start cashing in on retail companies that have no future. Right now, there are 4 retail stocks that look worse than a carcass on the side of a highway. Shareholders in these stocks may wind up living in a van because they were too stupid to see these companies for what they really are. But I'll tell you exactly which carbon trades to execute so you can effectively help bury these retail stocks in the boneyard where they belong. The first stock I'll tell you about is a major U.S. retailer that sells nearly 2 million products online. Their revenue has been going up every year for 5 years straight. Yes, you heard me, going up. So why would I put this supposed good company on death row? One word: margins. Last year, they sold $1.8 billion in goods, but only kept 0.4% of that money. That's 0.4%. This company not only has the worst margins I've ever seen, but their website traffic has dropped by 38%. If that isn't bad enough, the company's insiders can't get rid of their shares fast enough. In fact, they've already dumped millions of dollars worth of the shares, 57 million to be exact. In fact, I think I see the angel of death sitting on his dilapidated shoulder right now. And it looks like me. Things can only get worse from here, which is why I've pinpointed a single carbon trade that can make you enough extra cash to spend a few weeks in Italy's prestigious Amalfi Coast. The second stock I've set my sight on is a large mattress manufacturer with over 500 U.S. stores nationwide. In their latest press release, the company brags that their net sales grew 8% last year to a record $1.3 billion. Of course, the dirt they leave out is the fact that after expenses, they only made $51 million, which is 34% lower than the $78 million they made way back in 2012. The company is also emptying their cash vault as if they were robbing themselves. But this is all music to my ears because I found one carbon trade that could help you make up to $24,000 as this company becomes ancient history. The third retailer you can help bury in the ground is a major department store that sells everything under the sun. But soon, it won't be selling anything to anyone. Because based on 125 reviews on Consumer Affairs, they now have a 1-star rating, which, if you ask me, is generous. Their stores look like giant landfills, so it's really no surprise that the net income is down by nearly 50% since 2014. And their profit margin has dropped over 30% in the last year. Its chance of survival? 0. Why do I think so? Exhibit A, right here. Need I say more? But look, I couldn't be more thrilled to see such a beautiful sight as this, because I found the exact carbon trades that could produce 6,620% in total profits as the stock reaches its cold fate in July 2018. So you could sit back and watch as a $2,500 investment hands you a $168,000 windfall. The fourth stock I'm targeting is one of the largest women's clothing retailers in America. The company is also a train wreck waiting to happen. 120 of its stores are set to close. Net income has dropped by $217 million. Even its online sales are down. The company itself has stated that in 2017 it anticipates a drop in sales. And you know that when a company has such little faith in its own business, it's time to call the morgue. With its estimated termination date set for December of 2018, I've pinpointed a series of carbon trades that can make you about 2,220% from now until the company takes its last breath. That's good for an extra $58,000 in your bank account. This money is just waiting to be scooped up. And remember, they're highly intelligent people who understand and appreciate what I do, and they enjoy being a part of a movement that goes against mainstream. The information I share with them goes through exclusive channels because it's invaluable. Wall Street elites would kill to get their hands on it. So, as a condition of joining, I ask that you not share any information with outsiders. Not your best friend, second cousin, nobody. And if somebody asks you how you're making all this money, don't tell them. It's no one's business how you make your money. My mission is to show you how to get rich from the kinds of stocks model. The last thing I want is to broadcast my work. Of course, there's always a chance that some will stick around for longer than they should, like a pack of ghosts stuck in purgatory waiting to cross over to the other side. But the timing has never been better. Understand, the retail market isn't in some kind of bearish cycle or temporary slump, one that could eventually recover. It's been dying a long, irritatingly slow companies that have about as much chance of surviving as an armadillo that's just been hit by an 18-wheeler. But over the next year or so, that list could easily swell to 100 or more. And I'm going to show you how to carbon trade every single one of them. Again, I'm not doing this for me. This is all for you. However, with only 500 openings today, my gut tells me these slots will fill up in a matter of hours, especially once I share something I've kept a secret until now. In America is the best way to get rich. When oil was priced through the roof, a bunch of energy firms piled up debt, thinking the good times would never come to an end. But we've had cheap oil for a long time now, and it's time to pay the piper. With Penwest Energy, I would have had the ability to show you how to execute carbon trades to turn $2,500 into $126,000 as this stock withered from $20 to $1 a share. With AES Corp, I would have been able to show you carbon trades that could have made you $165,000 as this stock slid down a zip line straight to hell. And with Textana Group, I could have been able to help you make over $205,000 as shares deteriorated faster than Charlie Sheen's acting career. And these are just 3 companies. Baytex Energy, for example, just watch its stock go from $42 to $2 a share. I'm sure its shareholders want to tar and feather the boneheads who lit their money on fire. But I would have been able to show you how to turn $2,500 into $155,000 by using 3 carbon trades. Diadexis is another sob story. The company's stock has gone from $250 to $40 a share. But I would have been able to show you 4 carbon trades that could have allowed you to turn $2,500 into $338,000. Then there's Metrocom, one of the worst stocks to ever slither into the market. Before this toxic mess filed for bankruptcy, I would have been able to show you 3 carbon trades that could have made you $313,000 richer. Using this strategy, I can show you how to find the kinds of gains most people only fantasize about. Gains like 3,434% on electric light wave, 6,320% on radio Unica communications, 8,086% on Windstar. At this point, I've laid out all the facts. I've shown you how much money you can make from these decaying stocks. Now, it's time for you to make a move. Remember, as long as these stocks are dropping, and they are, you can make a profit on them over and over and over again by using a simple carbon trade, one that you only ever have to risk a few $100s to execute.